Hey, what's going on, guys? So this video is going to be about how you can break into the top 1% of 18 to 20-year-olds without going to college, without having rich parents, without having anything handed to you. Because I never had anything handed to me in my life. Everything I've done, I've worked for. All these guys that I'm surrounded with, everything they've done, they've worked for. We got my friend Adam right here. Adam, say what's up.
What up, dude?
Adam's the one who actually motivated me to film this first YouTube video of mine. He said something that kind of hurt my ego a little bit. He said it's always the same story, because I've been putting off this YouTube thing for how long, bro?
Way too long.
Let's give him some sauce. Give the boy some sauce.
I think Alex is great at what he does, and I inspired him to make a video. The thing that Alex is really good at is interviewing people, but I think he needs to make a YouTube video about just him. Just sitting down and interviewing himself, if you will. Because he works for like the top creators in the world, and it's important for him to just like, all right, lock in, do your own thing, because there's hella competition out there, you know what I mean?
Hey, we ain't worried about the competition, right, boys? All right, appreciate you, Adam.
All right, ready.
The first piece of advice to get ahead of like all the rest of the 18 to 25-year-olds out there is you got to stop worrying about how you look, and you have to start worrying about how your bank account looks. Adam, tell me that's not a fucking bar. Stop worrying about how you look and start worrying about how your bank account looks. Like even me for like the longest period of time, I would say right now is not the perfect time because I'm not exactly where I want to be at in life. Or maybe I don't have the house that I want. I don't have the car that I want. And I want to wait until I have all that stuff to actually start, right? And that's what holds most people back. They're worried about how they look to other people. They're worried about their external representation. Once you can throw that away and you could put your ego aside, and you could fall on your face and you could be not afraid to fail, not be afraid to see other people see you fail. I think that's where you really start to change your mindset and you just start going for everything that you want in life. So how do you separate yourself, right? That's probably your next question. How do you separate yourself from everybody else? It first starts with your habits. Your habits are not different from the majority of people. Your habits need to be different from the majority of people for you to have different results, okay? So what are some good habits that you can work on? Spending time with yourself more often. You have to spend the time with yourself to understand how you can best operate. Spend time by yourself. What I do is I usually take a walk in the mornings when I can. I try to take at least 30 minutes. You can't have music, you can't have headphones on, you just have to be alone. You have to be alone with your thoughts. All right, because that kind of grounds you for the rest of the day so that you can tackle the rest of the battles, the rest of the fires that are going to come on in your day. So number one is focus on yourself and spend time by yourself. Number two is going to be getting a good workout in, because what I found is confidence is built through your habits and through your routine. So if you're working out on a consistent basis, you start to characterize yourself as a person who works out every day. That goes along with everything. If you read every day, you start to characterize yourself as a smarter, more knowledgeable person. And that's number two. You have to be learning every single day. You have to be trying to improve your knowledge from yesterday, because how you separate yourself is the things that you do, the people that you know, the actions that you take. That's really the three things that are gonna separate you. How do I actually make money? How do you actually grow that bank account, right? I think it's super important not to have shiny object syndrome. I think too many people, they have 100 different things going on and they can never put enough effort into something for a long enough period of time for it to work. But here's the skills that I think are the best skills that you can learn in this day, in this age, right now. And I think the number one thing is going to be content and personal branding and short form content. You monetize yourself and you'll always be paid. You'll never have to worry about a paycheck again. So start monetizing yourself. So yeah, the top three skills that I think you should learn are gonna be short form content, whether that be TikTok or Instagram, long form content, which is obviously YouTube, and then sales. If you can master those three, I would say also copywriting. But look, you have to pick one of those first. You can't go all in on all of them. You have to pick one and you gotta go deep. How you actually get results in any of these things, it's not about learning the concept, it's not about consistently reading, it's not about watching courses, watching YouTube videos. I got stuck in that trap for the longest time. The best way that you actually get results in each one of these fields is you fucking go into the field, you get into the arena, and you actually take action. So get off the couch and get in the arena. Now, why are all the things that I mentioned predicated around content? It's because of this one simple concept, leverage, right? When you post content, you gain leverage because it's something that can consistently make you money for years to come. Some of the people that I work with, they've been making content for years and their content is still making them money to this day, right? They don't even have to make any new YouTube videos because the money they're racking in from their past YouTube videos is what's generating them money. I think the next thing is gonna be, you can't have a limiting mindset. You can't think you can't do something. Because once you start to have that negative talk goes into every area of your life, right? Whether it be, man, I'm having a bad day because I got the wrong order. I'm having a bad day because I woke up too late, so now I'm gonna be behind on my routine. So I'm just gonna start tomorrow. Once you start that negative talk, it's an ongoing cycle. So I think the number one thing is gonna be mindset. And the last one is going to be your environment. Being around certain people just fucking motivate you. You see them working, you see them grinding, you see them putting in the effort, and you're just like, fuck. If I don't do anything, then you just feel like you're falling behind. You feel like you're getting so far behind that it's gonna be hard to catch up if you don't do something now, right? So I think it's important to find yourself a group of people, even if it's not a group of people, if it's just one person that can hold you accountable to doing the things that you know the best version of yourself would do, even if they didn't want to. So find yourself a group of people that are also on the same path, on the same mission, and have the same mindset. And if you don't live in an area that has people who want to do the same things that you want to do, something that I've done, I've invested thousands of dollars into courses, into mentorships, where I met people online. Some of my best friendships have been from joining a program and learning online. Okay, so spend the money. Don't be afraid to spend money. Maybe that's gonna be the next tip. Don't be afraid to spend money, because the money that comes into your bank account, it kind of correlates with the money that you're willing to spend. And I'm not saying like on bad shit like clothes or just stupid stuff. I'm talking about the money that you're willing to invest in yourself will come back to you at a 10 times ROI, okay? So don't be afraid to invest in a course, into a mentorship program, to learn a skill, and then make the connections through there. One of my other videos will be how to become the top student in those courses and those mentorships and create a good relationship so that you can I have podcasts with some of the top guys in fucking Miami, because I go into a program and I don't want to just be the guy who's just there sitting there twiddling his thumbs. I want to be the guy that they see is taking action and actually implementing their advice. But that's going to be for another video. So if you can't find in-person people, find people online, and don't be afraid to spend the money to make more money. Look, you don't need rich parents. You don't need a degree. You don't need to go viral to make money. I know guys who are making $10,000, $15,000 with 200, 300 views on Instagram. You don't need any of that stuff to make money. All you need is yourself. All you need is a routine, and you just have to lock in on that routine. The biggest thing is just integrity at the end of the day. If you say you're gonna do something, do it. If you make a promise to yourself, don't break it, right? As a man, I think integrity is probably the number one characteristic that's gonna take you far in life. And when you have integrity with yourself, people will trust you. Because you trust, like how can you expect somebody else to trust you if you can't even trust yourself because you don't keep the promises that you say? So have integrity, keep your word, and lock in on a solid routine. That alone puts you ahead of 99% of people your age. Because to be honest, most people our age, they don't want to do the work. They don't want to put in the reps. They only want the reward. But the reward only comes when you put in the reps, right? Everybody wants to see the view, but nobody wants to make the climb. So you have to be that one who's willing to put in the work, dig your feet in the ground, and make that climb. So stop putting stuff off, stop breaking promises to yourself, start keeping your word with yourself, and just fucking lock in. That's how you become the 1%.